What is up? This is Britton Hess from SGPN's The Daily Dog. I'm here with my favorite Underdog Fantasy Pick'em plays for Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. If you're new to Underdog Fantasy, sign up with promo code DailyDog. That's DAILYDOG at UnderdogFantasy.com or on the Underdog Fantasy app. Again, that's promo code DailyDog, DAILYDOG at UnderdogFantasy.com or on the Underdog Fantasy app. If you do not already have a Underdog membership, it's for making Pick'em. Pick'em picks for like player projections in, why am I explaining this to you? You're clicking on the show already. You know what Underdog is. If you don't have an idea, you can figure it out pretty quick because I'm sure you at least know what props are and projections and player props are. So sign up with promo code DailyDog if you're new to Underdog Fantasy or new on the Underdog Fantasy app. Also, shout out to Sean Green and Ryan Kramer, who host the Sports Gambling Podcast. Obviously, this show that you're listening to right now is on Sports Gambling Podcast Network. And I went on their show again last night. Last week, I went on their show for the Thursday night NFL prop show. We had a really good, profitable evening. And hopefully we can repeat that process here again from the show we recorded last night. So check that out. I'll link it at the end of this video if you are on YouTube. Also, speaking of the people on YouTube, like literally 4 out of 5 people who watch this show on YouTube aren't subscribed. I don't know how or why that is a thing, but if you're checking out this show, and just click subscribe. You don't even have to check every day, but subscribe. It really helps us out here. I put out this content for you guys to try to get out some profitable slips. Yesterday was another frustrating one where we had a couple that fell just a little short. But we are going to get back in the trenches today with 4 slips here. We got Thursday Night Football look-ahead slip. We got NBA and NHL for tonight. And then we got MACtion for tonight as well. So let's get into it with Thursday Night Football for Thursday. We're going to start out with Nick Chubb lower than 59.5 rushing yards in this game against the Steelers. Chubb's season high is 52 yards. The standard number on Underdog right now is 51.5. I bounce it up a little bit to 59.5. I don't know why. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But for whatever reason, I felt like it was worth bouncing that up just a little bit. I still think he stays under. I don't think he has a big day by any means. I just think the Browns are just not using him for whatever reason. They're using him minimally. Or not minimally, but they're using him like they've got a running back by committee, which they do. But the committee members are not even close to as good as Chubb. Chubb is so far and away the best running back these guys got. I have no idea why they're not using him more. I mean, I think he's maxed out at 15 or 16 carries so far this season. So they should definitely be using Chubb more often. And they're not. So I'm going to take advantage of that and take a lower than 59.5 rushing yards for Nick Chubb. Then I'm going to take an alternate higher. I'm going to take higher than 69.5 receiving yards for George Pickens. He is a big play threat. He is Russell Wilson's favorite target. I think that there's plenty of opportunity for George Pickens in this matchup versus a defense for the Browns that seems like it's quit, that has trouble tackling, and obviously Pickens is tough to tackle. He's a big, huge athlete out there, and also Pickens has, he's got a reception of 30 plus yards in every game Russell Wilson has started. Just think about that, 30 yards. Like this is almost halfway through his hit with the amount of yards we need on just one catch. And that's going to happen in this game. Denzel Ward also could be out in this game. That obviously helps the Steelers often a lot. If Denzel Ward's not in there, if Myles Garrett is banged up or not playing right now, he's questionable. That helps the passing game a lot because that gives much more time to Russell Wilson. So yeah, I love George Pickens higher than 69.5 receiving yards. Next one, Jaylen Warren higher than 12.5 receiving yards. Again, Jaylen Warren, he's gotten 13 plus in basically every game that he's started with Russell Wilson. He's a great receiving threat out of the backfield, and 12.5 yards is something he can do on one play. He's extremely explosive. Throw it out to him in the flat after the receivers clear out, after the tight ends cross the field, and then it's just him one-on-one with a safety or a corner or outside linebacker or whatever. He makes a mess. He gets 12.5 yards easy. So that's easy work. This is so this slip is a 6.6x multiplier. Nick Chubb lower than 59.5 rushing yards. George Pickens higher than 69.5 receiving yards, and Jaylen Warren higher than 12.5 receiving yards. And just for good measure, that Thursday night slip we put out yesterday was Russell Wilson higher than 1.5 pass TDs, Jameis Winston higher than half an interception, and George Pickens higher than 4.5 receptions for a 7.34x multiplier. That one's come down just a little bit since yesterday. but still worth playing if you can get like 6.5x or more, in my opinion. So yeah, lots of action already going for Thursday Night Football. Now let's get to NBA tonight. Man, NBA tonight, NBA yesterday was so frustrating because I went, I got aggressive and I took an alternate over for Darius Garland's assists. It was over 7.5 or higher than 7.5, and he got to 7 exactly. If I would have played the standard number of 6.5, it would have got there no problem. But he got right up to the limit and then didn't cross the threshold, which is kind of annoying. But it didn't matter ultimately because at the end of the night, Lauri Markkanen ended up going over 20.5 points, even though he was at 20 with like 2 minutes left in that game, and it looked like it was going to be kind of a runaway for the Lakers, but NBA things ensued, and a lot more points happened, and he ended up getting 5 more somehow. So at least I didn't have to deal with the the heartbreak of Markkanen coming home late night after we missed out by half of a assist for Darius Garland. That said, today we're going to go give a redemption spot to Damian Lillard. We're going higher than 2.5 3-pointers made against the Bulls. This is an alternate number. 3.5 is his standard number. I went lower just because, man, he was 0 for 6 the other day. I think he's going to recover from that. But even if he has a little bit of a slower passing day, I want to make sure that I have options or I'm passing. I mean, a slower than usual 3-point day. I still want to make sure that this leg of this slip gets home. So higher than 2.5 3-pointers made for Damian Lillard, a.k.a. Dame time. Next, we're going to go to Dyson Daniels. Hold on one sec. All right, next we're going to go to Dyson Daniels of the Hawks playing against the Golden State Warriors. We're going to take Dyson Daniels higher than 13.5 points made, or 13.5 points. Daniels is averaging like 15 points this month in November. He is actually kind of becoming a very reliable scorer for this team. This is a high total game, about 238.5. So obviously I like the chances of Dyson Daniels to get to 13.5 points. That's not that crazy. So give me higher than 13.5 points for Dyson Daniels in a game with a pretty good scoring environment. Last one, we're going to Franz, Wagner, higher than 2.5 3-pointers made against the Clippers. Wagner of the Magic has been having a very solid offensive month. Obviously with Ben Caro down, he has had to carry the offensive load, and he has done superbly in that. Last game, he was 4 of 8 from 3. We don't even need 4. We just need 3 3-pointers made. So give me Franz Wagner higher than 2.5 3-pointers made. Hopefully the wall at the Intuit Arena down in Inglewood doesn't mess us up too much. This NBA slip is a 5.42x multiplier. Again, that was Damian Lillard higher than 2.5 3-pointers made. Dyson Daniels higher than 13.5 points, and Franz Wagner higher than 2.5 3-pointers made. Second to lastly, NHL, Jared McCann higher than half of a point, Matt Duchene higher than half a point, and Anze Kopitar higher than half of assists. Pretty consistent. A lot of these guys are on our slips very often because these guys are getting points and assists every single game. Duchene is a dude. Jared McCann of Seattle is a dude. And Anze Kopitar at age 37 is still kicking butt out there, at least as far as getting helpers goes. This is a 4.08x multiplier. It's a little bit conservative, but I want to bank one of these. We've had a little bit of a slow start to the week, so I want to get this one in. Again, I just think these are all great spots for guys that are super hot as far as getting points go. So it's higher than half a point for Jared McCann of the Kraken, higher than half a point for Duchene of the Stars, and then higher than half an assist for Anze Kopitar of the Kings, 4.08x multiplier. All right. Lastly, we're going to go to MACtion. We're going to take Tucker Gleason, higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns. This is the Toledo quarterback. He has done this in all but 2 games. One of those games was last week when we had him to do it. Ohio obviously is a pretty good defensive team, but I still think that there's a great chance for Tucker Gleason to have higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns. If the offense is working for Toledo, which I think it will to an extent, at least, he's going to have 2+ passing touchdowns in this game. So give me Tucker Gleason higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns. On the other side, we're going to take Parker Navarro, quarterback of Ohio, higher than half of a rushing plus receiving touchdown. This dude scores a ton of rushing touchdowns. He's a great red zone threat inside the 10, inside the 5. They can do a lot with him. They do motion. They do play action. They do everything. He gets into the end zone often. He's delivered on slips for us more often than not this year when I have him to get a rushing touchdown. So let's keep it up as this college football season winds down. Last one, Oren Singleton, the big play threat wide receiver for Eastern Michigan, higher than 75.5 receiving yards. It was funny, he was like at 67.5 or something last week, and he literally did it in the first half. I think we had a max slip that was all the way through in the first half last week. So let's do that again this week with Oren Singleton being the final guy, higher than 75.5 receiving yards at 6.36x multiplier. All right. Again, if you're listening on YouTube, just click the subscribe button. It really doesn't cost anything, and it just helps this channel grow. Obviously, I put out more content than anyone, faster than anyone in the underdog space. A lot of people like to drag it out, and they, spend 45 minutes telling you about their 2 plays, give you every single stat. I know you don't care about that. You just want the picks. I give you the picks for every single major sport that's going every single day. So if you enjoy that, make sure you're subscribing and downloading on the podcast feeds, and you're subscribed on YouTube. Got more slips tomorrow, more slips the day after that, the day after that, the day after that. I ain't stopping and keep grinding. Let's make some money today.